This webinar is being recorded. By participating in this webinar, you agree that Angelique Robbins owns all rights to this recording, and you grant her permission to use your image in any written or spoken comments you choose to offer during the course of this webinar in any manner she chooses. Well, thank you guys for being on this webinar. For those of you that have not been on before, the structure of these, the way that it works is that I'm going to sing, and when I'm done singing, you're going to then be interacting with Geschichte. Geschichte is the divine presence that I met when I had my near-death experience when I was 19 years old. I'm 40 years old now, and I've been through rigorous spiritual training ever since I turned 19. And when I turned 34, this gigantic energy that calls itself Geschichte actually began moving into my body and speaking to people. So that is who you will be speaking with. They are very intelligent, funny. They have strong energy. So if you feel strange things during the webinar, don't think twice about it. Don't worry about it. It's just you going through an energetic adjustment. So let's get started. So while I sing, just relax and close your eyes. When I'm done singing, you'll be speaking with Geschichte. Om Sei Safanata. Om Sei Safanata. Ooh, ooh, hey, say, come, say, can, say, come, say, can. Ooh, safe no. Ooh, for say, safe come, say can. Hey, for not day. For not day. Come for day. He come for day. Come for day. He come for day. Hey, he, Fonote. Ha. Hey. Fonote. Home. For. San. Tien. Kienu. Home. For. Sa. Tien. Kienu. Nyam. Fortiate. Nyam. Fortiate. Om. For. San. Tien. Kienu. Good morning, afternoon, evening, depending on where you are. Good to see all of you. The art of health. It's a very good topic, isn't it? Very important topic. And humorously, a controversial topic in today's world. Yeah. All kinds of wars, information wars regarding health going on in your world, isn't there? And isn't that bizarre? First and foremost, we want you guys to really adopt a more observant point of view in today's world because of all of the information offered. All right. When you adopt a more observant point of view, it is able to decipher the truth from the nonsense. Okay. Secondly, when you are investigating your own health, you have to be able to not only hold an observant standpoint, but you have to be able to hold an experimental standpoint. Okay, so you have to be willing to try certain things and be consistent with what you're trying. So in today's world, one of the things that we notice is that humans are extremely inconsistent, all right? So when you're wanting to achieve health in any area, it takes consistency. Just like if you want to create success in any area, it takes consistency. So a lot of the times when we're counseling someone on how to become healthier, and we make suggestions, sometimes those people will say, I've tried that. I've tried that. And what we can feel, because we can feel all through your timeline, we can feel your efforts, we can feel everything that's in your field. What we can often feel is that I tried that means I half-assed, gave that a shot for a very short period of time, and I didn't like how difficult it was for me to try that, so I quit. That's what I tried that means. And you will not achieve any results with that type of I tried that. So if you really want to know if something's going to work for you, number one, you've got to pour your heart into it. You've got to be consistent with it on a daily basis. And you need to try something for minimum 6 months to really see what's going to happen with you, okay? Now, when it comes to our counsel with Angel, her minimum is 1 year. If we instruct her to try something, she must try it for a year in order to really see the results that she's getting from it, okay? So we're going to begin on the basis of understanding that human beings are energy, okay, first and foremost. This is how we begin almost all of our discussions with you guys, because you have learned to perceive yourselves through only that which is material. And in essence, what material is, or what form is, that which you can touch, that which is tangible, it is the final piece of the story that is you, okay? So it is the final piece of manifestation. It is essentially the ending. So in any single area where you want to create change, you have to look at it in terms of energy. You have to look at it in terms of, how do I get to the core of this? How do I get to the beginning of this? How do I change direction with this energetically? And this is exactly why it takes consistency and continual effort to see something show up physically for you. Because this is literally how it works. This is how this reality works. It is energy expressing into material. So if you can affect something in its energetic beginnings, and if you can be consistent with that, then you absolutely will see changes manifest physically. Now that can go either way. You can affect something negatively, or you can affect something positively by using this understanding. All right? So first things first, in regard to health, there is an overall mindset that is extremely important. And that overall mindset is your ability to remain as calm as possible, as observant as possible. So every single one of you is experiencing your own perception of life. And your perception of life is this keyhole, right? It is this tiny view of the way everything works. And that tiny view of the way everything works is also through a myriad of filters. So the number one thing that has to start being addressed in order to achieve really optimal health is your consistent mindset about life in general, about yourself, about others. And you have to start really assessing, where am I coming from? When it comes to my own personal health, am I coming from a place of gentleness? Am I coming from a place of love for me? Or am I coming from a place of judgment toward me? Am I coming from a space of patience and willingness to contribute myself into my health? Or am I coming from a place of impatience and entitlement? Do you understand what we're saying? So it's very, very important to consistently assess what mindset you're holding, because whatever mindset you're holding is influencing whatever decisions you're making in regard to your health. And like we said, when you start with the energy, you have a lot of answers of what's going to manifest physically for you. Okay, so we'll give you a kind of negative example, all right? So someone wants to become healthy and they perceive themselves to be overweight. That overweight is their idea of unhealthy. When they're perceiving themselves to be overweight, everything that's going along with that is, I feel ugly, I feel unaccepted, I'm mad that I look this way, I'm mad that she looks that way and I have to look this way. So I will do whatever it takes to lose this weight and become healthy. Okay, so we're actually giving you a very common perspective in today's world. So healthy to many people means thin. All right. So that person in this scenario might go about becoming healthy in whatever way suits that specific desire to become thin. All right. And the energy that's going into that is a anger type energy of, I'm going to control you. I'm going to make sure this happens so that I feel better. All right. So what happens in that scenario is your body actually becomes your enemy. In that approach, you're treating your body as an enemy. Okay. So what do you think is going to happen, physically speaking, when the energy leading up to whatever manifestation is going to occur is this type of dynamic? If you're ugly, you're too fat, you're unacceptable, do you think anything of profound health is going to occur from that standpoint? No, it's not. This is where you get eating disorders and this sort of thing that only cause the body more trouble. All right. So let's say that, and in addition to that, even if what that person is trying to do is eat very healthy foods and whatnot, if that person still has that general attitude toward themselves, even though the foods that they're eating might be finding harmony within the body, the attitude toward oneself is causing disharmony. And so it's actually impeding that health process. So this is why we consider that the attitude toward yourself, toward your own health, is of the most importance. How much do you love your health? How much do you love your own health? How much do you love you? How much do you love your life? Do you genuinely feel love toward your body? Do you genuinely feel love toward your expression here on planet Earth? If not, this is the first thing to really, really start working on. We have a client and we said, every time you look in the mirror, we want you to really pay attention to what you're saying to yourself. We want you to notice how cruel you are to yourself when you're looking in the mirror. And then we want you to imagine that you have a daughter and that you say those things to her. Is it loving? Would it help her? Would it help her be healthy? Would it help her have a healthy mindset? Would it motivate her into health in any way? No, it would be damaging. She would grow up believing things about herself that would create many illnesses for her. Okay? This is what you guys do to yourselves all the time. And it's one of the greatest causes of illness. Okay? Now, there are different components that go into health. Health is such a broad topic. It really is. All right? Because you guys are a mixture of that which can be seen and that which cannot be seen. And if you notice in your world today, almost everything regarding health is about that which can be seen. But we want you to think about something. If you have somebody in a hospital bed on the brink of death, and that person then slips into death, is there any amount of quality food that you can give them that will bring them back to life? Is there any special type of air that you can give them that will bring them back to life? Is there any special type of water that you can give them that will bring them back to life? No. And yet this happens often, doesn't it? Someone will slip into death and then wake back up. And then it did not have anything to do with anything material. That really has to make you guys think from an observational standpoint. What is doing that? If the material components of us are the most important, how is it that someone can have life after death without anything material having an influence on it? Which will lead you to what we're about to speak about. There is an energy, there is a force of life that is governing everything about you. It is much more important, in fact, than the foods or the supplements or the water or the air. We're not saying that those aren't important. Of course they are. But we are saying that there is this entire other component that you can give at least 50% of your well-being to. And that's at the bottom end of the percentage. And this part of you is not paid attention to. In the world today, it is not very paid attention to whatsoever, especially in the Western world. Okay, we're talking about life force. We're talking about that invisible force that governs your well-being, that invisible force that contributes to the health of your organs, that invisible force that contributes to the health of your mind, to the health of your emotions. When that invisible force is not in abundance within you, then you start having failure of all different types of things. Start having organ failure. And we're not talking about the extreme version of organ failure where you're aware that your organ is failing. We're talking about the symptoms that you guys experience on a daily basis, which is literally from your organs not having enough life force. Hardly anyone on your planet has the amount of life force that they should for optimal health. Okay? So this is a rather mystical area, hard to explain, hard to put a finger on because, like we said, you cannot see it. We're going to give you our opinion through our very, 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 very long time of observation of your planet. There is a man, and his name is Master Owen Wei. He has created a qigong form called Pangu Shengong. That qigong form gives more life force to the human body than any qigong form we've ever seen. He is alive today. You can learn this qigong form from Angel. You can learn it from Keith. You can learn it from many people if you go to the pangu.org website and find instructors. Then you can practice this qigong form. It's a very easy thing to practice. It takes about 15 minutes a day to do one form. You can practice as much of it as you like, and you can improve the health of your body. You can improve the health of your emotions. You can improve the health of your mental capacity, your thoughts. You can improve everything about yourself with this very simple qigong form that understands this basic component that we're talking about, that more than half of you is run by something that you cannot see. And when this life force is in abundance, it allows you to have harmony within your body. Health and harmony hold hands. Health and flow hold hands. Disharmony and sickness hold hands. Stagnation and sickness hold hands. Now, when there is a proper mindset, when there is genuine love toward one's own health, and that individual is practicing something like Pangu Shengong on a regular basis, they're going to be creating momentum toward a healthier existence. Period. It's impossible for them not to. So those are the first two things that we'd like to discuss. When it comes to material, meaning food, water, air, that sort of thing, this is where your information wars are pretty insane, if you ask us. If one person is searching the internet trying to find the best way to heal themselves regarding food, they're going to become very confused. And our heart goes out to you all for this issue that's going on right now. And the truth is that there is a lot of propaganda in your world. And there are certain forces in your world that would really like for humans to be sick. And those specific forces have a lot of power and a lot of money to fund all different types of studies and to write all different types of articles and to bombard you with all different types of bullshit. Which is why it's really important for you guys to be able to have an observant perspective, and why it's really important for you to be able to test things for yourself. Okay? But one of the things that we want you guys to really start looking at in regard to things like food, we want you to really start looking at the history of your species. We want for you to get as objective as you possibly can and pay attention to the history of the way your species has eaten. And we can tell you this, the majority of food that you guys have sitting on shelves in your grocery stores does not exist in the history of your species eating style. Okay, it's new. Even agriculture is new, meaning a lot of your vegetables are new. It means that they're new to your digestive systems. So what is the main thing that is not new? The main thing that is not new is meat. It's what you've been eating for millions of years. It is the easiest thing for your bodies to digest. Okay? By itself, not mixed with all of the other things that you guys put on a shelf, not mixed with grains, not mixed with a bunch of vegetables, not mixed with sugar. By itself. Meat, by itself. Your body can digest easier than any other food. We know that this is really going to go against what most people are saying right now, but it is the absolute truth. And this is why there are people that are experiencing such extreme health benefits by only eating meat. Your digestive system is that of a carnivore. Humans are carnivorous. Period. We know that in the world today, this is a difficult thing to accept because somehow it means that if you're carnivorous, you're also cruel. But if you will allow yourself to think through this for longer periods of time, you will understand that being carnivorous does not mean that you're cruel. And if you really look at the way the world works, everything dies. Everything dies. So the question or the opposition should not come in regard to death. Because no matter what you're putting in your mouth, if it had life, it is dying or has died in order for you to put it in your mouth. So really that should be off the table. Now, when it comes to cruelty of animals, is that something that humans need to get control over? Of course it is. But are there plenty of humans that are not treating animals in this way? Yes. And if you look at all of the indigenous people, tribal people, anything where you can look into history, just go on National Geographic and start researching all the human remains that have been found for the past million years. And what you will find is that your ancestors ate meat. Okay? So ultimately, when it comes to digesting food, simplicity is something for you to keep in mind. What humans do today is they bombard their digestive systems with all kinds of different things, often in one sitting. And the internal environment of that individual is already tumultuous, okay? Most of you have somewhat tumultuous internal environments. When you have a tumultuous internal environment, it is that much more difficult for your digestive system to digest your food, because there is only so much energy that you have to put into these different areas, especially when you're not practicing anything to replace, contribute life force, okay? So your mental processes, your worry, your fear is chewing up this very life force, is causing disharmony within your body, disharmony within your emotions, disharmony within your mind. So you're consistently losing that which creates you strong. And if you put material into your body that further weights down or further slows down these processes or further contributes to disharmony in these processes, you're going to feel even worse. And this is why when people will take a more simplistic approach to their way they eat, whether it be just eating meat or what you guys call the ketogenic diet or even the vegan diet or any of these things, what's happening usually is a more simplistic approach is occurring. And the body is able to handle that simplicity better than the complexity. All right. So this is why those types of ways of eating have a positive effect. On that note, though, we want you guys to truly understand that the food that your body can digest and absorb the most nutrients from, without exception, is meat. Specifically red meat, organ meats, very, very high in their nutritional value, and your body can extract the nutrients from them. And it's been that way for millions of years. So if you choose to pay attention to what we're saying to you, you will conclude that some of these other ways of eating are not the healthiest way to eat. Processed foods are never good for your body. They're just not. That's not what your digestive systems are made for. Food, if you're going to be eating a bunch of vegetables and fruits, the closer those foods are to your region, the better your body's going to be able to handle them. Meaning those that grow naturally in your region. But we want you guys to really get observant in this understanding and think about some things. If all agriculture was wiped away, if you no longer could go to the grocery store, and you had to go out into the wilderness, what would you eat? Do you think that by going into the wilderness, you're going to be able to find an amount of fruits and vegetables that can sustain you in most areas of the world? Are most people even going to know what those are? No, of course not. Which lets you know something. You guys have created a lot of these foods. And we want you to think about that. If you are out in the wilderness, the one thing that you know you'll be able to eat is meat. And we promise you, if it came down to survival instincts, and this is what occurred, every single one of you would know it. So we hope that puts an end to some of the food wars. If you choose to listen to us for this, every single person we've counseled in regard to how to become healthier through what you're eating has absolutely become healthier. Okay? Every single one. We do not have one failure regarding someone improving their health. And most of our students eat mainly meat and hardly any sugar and hardly any grains. All right? So we want to answer some questions that you guys may have.
I have a question here.
Mm-hmm.
Judy asks, it's said for my weight with kidney stones to eat 1.65 ounces of protein a day. What does the Geschichte advise?
We're feeling you out. Well, what are the other things that you're told to eat in addition to that?
And I believe Judy eats a primarily carnivorous diet. And Judy, correct me if I'm wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure she's almost strictly carnivorous.
Well, if you're strictly carnivorous, then we don't understand why you would have to weigh the amount of protein.
I think there's some schools of thought, and Judy can correct me if I'm incorrect from what she understands. There are some Western schools of thought that say that there's some contribution to kidney stones by having protein. If I'm not mistaken, those studies are done when there are other things eaten along with the protein.
Exactly.
She says, low oxalate foods. Yes, I do, Keith, and I'm having issues with stones. And Judy, I would ask the question, did you have issues with stones before eating this way?
Okay. Can you guys hear what the conversation that's going on?
Yes, she was having problems with stones before she started eating this way.
Okay. So there's a woman asking about how to eat because she has kidney stones. Because Keith is also filming this on Facebook Live. So what she's experiencing with the kidney stones is what we were explaining in the beginning of this class, which is there's a lot that's contributed to an illness that creates momentum on the way to that illness, all right? So she's experiencing the final product of a lot of different states that were occurring, emotional states, mental states, and improper ways of nourishing herself in general, which over a long period of time creates a momentum. That momentum is what has to be turned around. So in our opinion, food is only a tiny part of that.
She says in the past 2 days, she's had them again, accompanied by diarrhea and vomiting and pain and spasming.
Yeah, so we would say get a treatment from Keith. Because that means that there's already so much momentum that needs corrected that you need some help, okay? So seriously, reach out to Keith, and we would say get treated minimum once a week for 2 months, and you'll start to have some resolution with that.
Her next question, she goes, I'm concerned if I should lower the protein at this point.
It just doesn't feel to us that that's the main component of her issue.
Mm-hmm.
What does it feel like to you?
Judy says, ha ha ha, I was thinking either that or Master O. And yes, Master O would also be an excellent choice to treat you for kidney stones, no doubt about it. For me, it feels like that, again, as you were saying earlier, the majority of momentum was caused by not physical, this is a physical origin, but a lot of mental and emotional patterns that set this in motion, got this momentum going for the kidney stones. And yeah, diet contributes, but there's so much more that comes in not the form of diet when it comes to stones. I know plenty of people patients who have had a very much an omnivore diet, some more processed foods than others, and all of them that I'm thinking of had kidney stones. And they had varied diets. Some had lower protein, some had higher protein.
And of course, Judy, we would recommend minimum 2 hours of Pangu Shengong a day. When you guys get into these situations where you're already experiencing pretty exaggerated illnesses, you have a lot of work to do to reverse that momentum, okay? You have to think that your entire life has been contributing to whatever you're experiencing now. So you have to go into a more observant place and really look at all these different areas that we've spoken about to understand how to change that momentum. So food is only a part of it. It really is, guys. It's not, food is not everything. It's a part of it, but it's not everything. And often when you guys get into these places of that type of extreme illness where you're experiencing something like kidney stones, you need help getting out of it. You need help reversing or changing the momentum. Okay? So when you consider that an entire life has contributed to whatever illness you're experiencing now, then you can logically conclude that the effort you need to put in to healing yourself, the effort you need to put in to changing that momentum is going to be pretty extreme. Okay? And that you're going to go through some type of healing process, which also won't feel good. Because when you guys get yourselves into a place of illness, then it's like driving into a mud pit. And now you're stuck in this mud pit. But to get out of the mud pit, you have to drive back through the way you came. Okay? What is that called? The healing crisis?
Yes.
So this is also where to really pay attention to your ability to have patience with your journey and to have consistency with your journey. But we'll use Angel as an example, okay? And Judy, this is for you too. Angel went through somewhat of a rough life, the majority of her life. The relationships within her life have been challenging. And in 2012, she began a very serious and traumatic divorce. It ended up where she basically lost her first child, who meant everything to her. And during that divorce process, experienced extreme terror, fear, worry, hate, anger. Okay. That divorce process lasted almost 3.5 years. So let's just take this section. There's a lot more than that even, but we'll just take this section of 3.5 years where she was experiencing all these things that we're telling you about. And in addition to experiencing all of those things, she had to work her butt off. Okay. So she was perpetually exhausted, in addition to the emotional states that she was continuously going through. And then she got pregnant, had a miscarriage, and very quickly after got pregnant again, went through the entire pregnancy, then had a cesarean section, and then quickly began working again. After that whole thing, she's had a lot of healing to do, all right? That entire thing, even though she was practicing qigong, even though she does a lot of internal work, it was very taxing on her body. Okay, and we're not even bringing food into the equation right now. We're simply talking about what she went through emotionally and mentally and what she had to clean up in those areas. Organ systems that were affected by that entire time: thyroid, liver, kidneys, adrenals, pancreas, intestines, lungs. So she's experiencing certain types of illnesses that she's having to change momentum with. And what we say to her is the same thing we're saying to you, Judy. There is a certain amount of effort that you must put in on a daily basis. We require 2 hours of qigong out of Angel per day as well. Then there are treatments that she gets from Keith, treatments that she gets from Master O, and her ability to consistently work through the anger, the hatred, the feelings of betrayal, the feelings of loss, all of these things being addressed on a daily basis. Her learning how to be a friend to herself, her learning how to not judge herself, her learning how to listen to her body regarding what foods feel the best, what foods do not cause bloating, what foods do not cause gas, what foods do not cause constipation. Yeah? What thoughts do not cause more hatred? What thoughts do not cause more sadness? What thoughts do not cause more fear? What thoughts encourage feelings of well-being? What thoughts encourage feelings of inspiration? What thoughts encourage belief in wellness? Do you see what we're saying? A consistent effort toward improving all of the areas that were saturated in dysfunction, okay? It takes all of this to turn an illness around. So rarely will we ever give just 100% advice or just on a food or a supplement, because there's so much that goes into sickness and health that you really have to be keeping an eye on the whole thing. And you really have to be investing in yourself in many things at one time in order to truly change momentum. Okay? And this is what we really want you guys to understand, that what you're changing, instead of thinking, oh, I have to change this illness, we want you to think more of, I need to change the momentum that caused this illness. And so I'm going to put forth as much effort as possible to change the momentum that caused this illness. So we want you guys to ask yourselves, we want you to pay attention to what all goes into that type of momentum. What are the thoughts toward life? What are the thoughts toward yourself? What emotions are you experiencing on a daily basis? One thing we know about kidneys is that kidneys hold the energy of fear. Okay? So if you're having kidney issues, then it's time to really look at worry. It's time to really look at fear. It's time to really look at insecurity. It's time to really look at instability in general. And to start figuring out how to create stability, how to create confidence, how to create faith in your life, how to create trust in your life, how to create trust with you. And how to create an ease and flow within your body that is not going to be dictated by some type of dogma, but instead dictated by the actual genuine feedback that your body gives you. Okay.
Judy said a couple of things over the last few minutes. She's said, she says, absolutely agree on changing the momentum. She just needs a direction on how to do that. That was earlier. More recently, she says, laugh out loud, no foods feel right now. Sharon says, this is Sharon Coley, she says, I fear and panic, it sucks.
Yeah, fear and panic does suck. So we would like for you guys, any of you really, to go and watch our webinar that we did called The Art of Transforming Emotions. Okay? We cannot express to you guys how important emotions are in regard to your health. They are really the doorway that can point you in the direction of health. Once you start understanding the way your emotions are affecting your thoughts, the way your emotions are affecting your body, the way your emotions are affecting just your overall life, when you learn how to get in there and start working with those emotions and how to start working with your perspectives and transforming your perspectives, transforming your emotions, you really have such a head start on how to achieve optimal health. Okay? And Judy, we're not surprised that no food feels right at the moment. And we're just going to repeat that that's the most simplistic you can get your food, meaning keep it simple in your stomach, okay? One thing at a time type scenario. And if you're already doing that, then you're on the right track. Are there other questions?
No, on my end.
So in this webinar, we've discussed a few things, but guys, what we want you to understand is that this is such a broad topic that essentially what we really would like for you to do, if you really want to understand how to achieve optimal health, we would want you to go back and watch every single webinar we've done at least 3 times. so that you can understand every single thing that goes into your health, because everything we talk about, everything we instruct you guys regarding relationships, regarding emotions, regarding how to deal and think about power, how all of it, anything we speak with you about, we're teaching you how to become healthier. And what we want you to do is start realizing that this concept of health is so much bigger than the way most humans are thinking about it. All right.
Judy says, quite frankly, it feels as though I'm unwittingly destroying my health.
Well, Judy, if you're interested in a session with us, then please reach out to Angel, because we would love to dive into this deeper with you. But since this is a general webinar, we're not going too deep into your stuff because it would take too much time. So we would like you to consider that, but we do want you to know that you're on the right track, and that you can absolutely change this momentum. And the more Pangu Shengong you're practicing, the more treatments that you're getting from Keith, from Master O, people who actually cultivate life force so that it can be shared with you, and people that know how to absorb dysfunction to help you with your load. Those are the type of practitioners that are going to be able to help you get out of the hole, okay? You're going to achieve good results. It's just not going to be fun in the process, but you're going to achieve good results, okay? So as much as you can, get into the patient mindset. And as much as you can, go and watch our webinar on how to heal pain, okay? Because when someone is in pain, a lot of the time, the impatience sets in even more. And what the impatience does is put even more pressure on you to feel correctly or to heal or whatever that is, which then compounds the issue. So what you want to start doing is being able to entrain your energy to a healthier energy. And so everything that we are instructing you to do will start entraining your energy to different and more healthy energy. And when that is a habit, the more effort and time you put into that, for example, any webinar you listen to of ours, we're entraining your energy the entire time. This is why those people that study with us every week, their entire lives change. Okay? Drastically, dramatically. They become completely different people. The people that have been studying with us for 3 years are unrecognizable compared to where they were when they began. This is because of the internal work that they're doing, but it's also because of the entrainment of energy. And everything in your world, energy entrains, period. That's what it does. So wherever you are, whatever you're immersed in, you are entraining with. So the more diligent you can at learning to entrain yourself, or to put yourself in the midst of powerful, healthy energy, the better. Because you are energetic beings, and you cannot help but entrain.
I did post this in text, but Terry Allen asked, where do we find all these past webinars? I posted back that we find them on this Facebook page and also on Angel-Geschichte YouTube channel.
The YouTube channel has all of them. The Facebook page does not.
So there you go, folks. The YouTube channel has all of the webinars.
So we can post a link to the YouTube channel in that thread?
Sure.
Okay. Okay, Diane has a question. Yes, Diane?
I'm not on Facebook anymore, so what would be the, how would we find it on YouTube?
Well, it's called Angel-Geschichte. That's the YouTube channel.
Can you spell Geschichte?
Geschichte.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, guys, it is 11:07. So if there are no more questions, we're going to end it for today. We hope that you got something out of this. It's a very complex topic and unfortunately a controversial topic. But do know this: we do not make money. We do not have interest in money other than turning the tables, so to speak, in your world, so that those who actually care about mankind are the ones who are holding the most money. That is our interest. So everything that we tell you regarding your health is genuinely from the place of us wanting you to experience health. We have no other investment other than that. Okay? We love you all.